Good morning. It's Monday, September 29th. Welcome to Up to the Minute Live. I'm Dr. Lana Pigal, Communications Director of Northwest College, and my co-host this morning is Isa Machado. She is an HCCTV intern. Good morning, Isa.
Good morning, Lana. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
It was really good, actually.
Yeah.
It was really good. How about yours?
Mine, I took a quick trip to Vegas for a concert or
Okay.
two and came back really early yesterday morning. And
That's cool,
yeah.
though. That's the best type of weekend.
Yeah, it
That's the
was
best
a
type of
lot
weekend.
of fun, and
Yes.
I'm really happy to come back to the nice, cool weather as we were
Yeah,
discussing earlier.
this morning was so nice.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
my hair is actually holding up too. So why don't you tell folks where they can find us?
All right, y'all can find us. We're live on Houston City College's district Facebook page, not HCC, and YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and on HCC TV at noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. Also, make sure to like this episode and follow us on social media.
Absolutely. And today for Mental Health Monday, we welcome back Sarah Garcia. She is the manager of the Community for Conscious Aging at the Young Center of Houston to talk about young adults building a meaningful life. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, absolutely. Isa will be right with you. But first, HCC is hosting AI and other digital workshops that say it's not too early to be thinking about holiday marketing. And I got to tell you, I was in Target the other day and Christmas decorations are already up. So we are talking this morning with Beth Guide. She's the owner of Vertical Web Digital Marketing Agency and HCC Entrepreneurial Partner. Welcome back to the show, Beth.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So we're looking forward to hearing about your AI workshops. But first, tell us about your long partnership with HCC. Many years, I understand.
We've been working together to help entrepreneurs here in the Houston market succeed in business. We feel like that digital marketing web is somewhat nebulous and that we serve a very big role to help educate those entrepreneurs to get them going in the right direction. I've been working with HCC for almost 6-7 years now. So there's been a lot. We do it every month. We've been working with the entrepreneur at A-Leaf, and we do them digitally. We did do them in person before COVID, but since COVID, and we end up with large groups coming in to hear what we have to say, and we've handled it that way for years.
Wonderful. So tell us about your own background.
My background is somewhat interesting. I started in a traditional journalism background in New Jersey and worked for several of the large newspapers up there in college and after college. And then when I came to Houston, the internet was kind of starting and it looked like a newspaper. Similar layout, similar structure. And I was like, hey, if I can do it for print, I'm sure I can do it for digital. And that's been 29 years now. I've been in this industry, and my very first customer did me a very big favor because he said to me, called me on the phone one day and he said, why am I not on Yahoo? And that's launched my entire career because there was no Google, for those of you that don't remember that, but Yahoo was the only game in town, and we got him all up and running, and we have put together a full service digital marketing agency. It does web design. We do web hosting. We're mini GoDaddy in that regard. So we believe that you need a one-stop shop. So we built that from the ground up. So it's been a big 29 years for us on everything that we've been doing and how we've been doing it.
Wow. So, well, let's get into some history on AI and the internet. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. All right. So, we've all experienced search and we've all experienced how that interacts. And, it started from just stringing words together with plus signs. And it's moved from things like Ask Jeeves and, Yahoo, which I mentioned. And, Google became the 800-pound gorilla in the room. But the interesting problem was that they kind of got caught by surprise with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT came in and they immediately started to change the way everything functioned. What's been interesting is the evolution and to watch that. So what it does is basically the basic model of it is it takes information that it finds across the internet and it correlates it into answers. So they call it a large learning model. They call it, that's how they do it, but it's learned language, and it's learned how to process language, and it learns what words mean. And it basically scrapes the entire internet and then puts it in useful formats. So when you look at an AI result, whether it come out of ChatGPT or Gemini, which belongs to Google, you'll see that it has citations, just like when we all went to school and we had to make citations of where we found the information. They make citation references to your brand and to your website. And that makes it vitally important for all small business to be able to start to tackle and get into the AI models, because I think the public at large believes that that's curated material. It's really not. But they believe it's curated, and basically that Google's making a recommendation of your business or a solution to that problem.
Now, I remember Ask Jeeves, and that's kind of
Dating yourself.
So I'm sure digital marketing is using big data as well. Can you explain how AI is now an integral part of marketing and messaging strategies?
Yeah, absolutely. So AI, it's helping business owners. I think my core entrepreneurs say, well, it helps me write a business letter better. It helps me write a marketing material better. It helps me give suggestions on how better to serve my customers. So there is that absolute component of it. But to my mind, the bigger win for small business is to become the source of the AI. And how you do that is you be the expert. Just like I'm here talking to you today because I'm an expert on my subject matter. My information that I put on my website, and really the classes and the class material that we've been doing all these years, is feeding the AI. So when people ask questions, we appear as the solution to that problem. That should be the goal for every small business owner out there, that they should be striving to be in those AI results, because that's how people are going to find them and how it's going to move forward. What I will say is that typically when I ask a room of entrepreneurs, are you an expert? There's only one or two people that are bold enough to put their hand up. And I think the paramount shift that we need to have is everybody needs to put their hand up. You started a business because you saw a need in the marketplace. You have a market share that you've captured, and you understand what you're doing. So therefore, be the expert, be bold, and don't be afraid to say that out loud. I think us that are in Gen X and older, we were all taught to be a little bit more humble than our Gen Z counterparts. So they are going to have a little bit easier road of it. But I think it's an adjustment. I think we just all have to change how we think, and it's okay to say you're an expert. And that's what's going to make you stand out in the crowd. AI is capturing that uniqueness about your business and utilizing it to provide answers to customers or potential customers. So you should have thousands of these reference points inside Google if you're doing your material right on your website. Oh, by the way, use AI to create the content, but not to give you a framework, but add your own uniqueness into it. Do not just cut and paste it out of AI and paste it into your website, because that's going to get you all messed up.
You know, you're right about Gen Z and how they are not humble. We Gen Xers are. My son had to describe himself for a school paper, and he described himself as being awesome.
There you go. See?
So your last workshop was on holidays. Where does AI come into play with them?
All your products, you need to go evaluate so that your product is what's being suggested. And I think that was our message within that class, is that we want your business to be put in there and be in the AI. So if you're selling a product, your product needs to be the recommendation from Google. And there's lots of different ways to do that and handle it, but that's the nutshell version of it, and should be every business owner's goal at this point.
Great. Well, thank you, Beth Guide, owner of Vertical Web Digital Marketing Agency and HCC Entrepreneurial Partner. Check out our post for more information on it and for Pammy's Films. And after a quick commercial break, Issa will be back with our Mental Health Monday guest.
Why wait on your dream job? At Houston Community College, tuition is only $33 per credit hour, with flexible schedules, over 100 programs, and campuses across Houston. HCC makes it easy and affordable. Your future for less. Houston Community College. Move your future forward.
Poison Help is a free 24/7 hotline that answers all of your poison questions in over 100 languages.
Hello? Poison Help?
Hello? When poison happens, we're here for you. Just call Poison Help, 1-800-222-1222.
Dear Santa, my mom says I'm a good helper, but you didn't come last year. I just really hope this year when I wake up, I'm gonna see that you came to my house too.
Donate today.
Hey everyone, we're back and we're moving on to Sarah Garcia. She's a manager of the community for conscious aging at the Young Center of Houston. And she is our Mental Health Monday guest. So welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
You're here to discuss how young adults can build a foundation for a meaningful life using depth psychology, right?
That's right.
Okay, cool. Well, let's begin with you reminding us what the Young Center is all about and how Carl Jung is the godfather of depth psychology.
Yeah. So for folks that aren't really familiar with Carl Jung or with the Jung Center, Carl Jung was a Swiss psychoanalyst who studied under Freud, which a lot of us have heard about. And a lot of his ideas that he put forth contributed to the foundation of what we now call depth psychology. So if you've ever heard of introversion or extroversion archetypes or shadow work or anything like that, that was all Jung's original ideas. And depth psychology is basically a framework that studies the parts of ourselves that we're unconscious of. So we tend to think of ourselves as really driven by our willpower or being really autonomous and conscious of what we're doing. But depth psychology says that your inner conflicts, your dreams, your unconscious desires, your unconscious conditioning influence you a lot more than you might think. So the Jung Center was founded back in the 60s by a small group of women who were just really passionate about Jung's ideas. They wanted to take the theory and apply it to themselves, apply it to their relationships, and some of them were therapists. So they wanted to apply it in their work, and they wrote a letter to Jung and asked for approval to use his name, and he wrote back and said absolutely. So that's how we got started. Now we're a nonprofit space in the museum district across from the Museum of Fine Arts, and we have a free rotating gallery, a really awesome bookstore and library. But primarily what we do is offer programs that are continuing education for the human spirit. So we use depth psychology theory and put it into practice in community for a deepened sense of healing and meaning.
That sounds amazing. I might have to go and stop by that gallery you're talking about and get to meet some people over there. Now I have this statistic. They say that 60% of HCC is under the age of 25. And studies on young adults show that high rates of feeling like their life is meaningless, like they don't matter to others. What insights from depth psychology can help young adults with these issues?
Yeah. So I was really shocked when I looked at that statistic. It was like 58% of young adults reported recently having little or no sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. And the numbers were even worse for people that were from marginalized backgrounds that were experiencing, classism or racism and just had barriers to accessing resources. And so I wondered, what from the Jung Center, what from Jung would be helpful. And the concepts that came forward for me were the idea of individuation, the idea of vocation, and the idea of synchronicity. So I'll just briefly define each of those. Carl Jung came up with individuation, which is basically the idea that throughout your life, you are constantly growing and evolving. And the more conscious you can become of those unconscious things that we mentioned earlier, the more agency and control and clarity you'll have over your life trajectory. And you'll be more capable of reaching your full, authentic sense of potential. And then vocation is a concept that Jung really worked with, but that predates him, and it refers to your deep inner calling. So it's not necessarily your current job or what you do, for money, but the truest purpose of your life that you feel compelled and nourished by doing. And then my favorite of the terms is synchronicity. Jung coined that term. It basically means meaningful coincidences that don't have a clear causal connection. So say you're thinking about someone, you need to text back, you haven't talked to them in months, and all of a sudden they just call you out of the blue. And it seems like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? It's these coincidences that seem to light the path forward for you. So just getting familiar with those concepts and integrating them into your life can help you navigate in a way that feels more true to yourself, hopefully more sustainable, and ideally will help you live an authentic life, so that when you reach that midlife point, you don't necessarily feel that you feel more prepared to navigate the midlife crisis.
That sounds amazing, honestly. I feel like, well, I'm a young adult. I'm 21, and a lot of what you're saying is really resonating. And now I'm super interested. Like, I wanna know everything. I wanna go over there and talk to y'all. Let's dig a little bit deeper. How do you start individuating to find your vocation or your calling, like you said?
Yeah. So with depth psychology, the very first step is always getting deeper self-awareness. We're always changing throughout our lives, so it's important to just take stock of where you're at now. Noticing your personality type, are you more introverted or extroverted? Taking inventory of the memories and the stories that influence you the most, whether that's good or bad. So maybe you were like always the authentic or the athletic sibling, and that story helped you build a lot of confidence. That mythos, the way people responded to you, helped you build confidence and skill in that sport. That might be something you want to hold on to and build on and prioritize. But if you're more of like, you were always the shy and the quiet one, and you reflect and you're like, oh, that's kind of limited me, just getting aware of that is the first step to making the changes that you want to. And then noticing those synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, where they're happening and where that's kind of guiding your life. And all of that will help with developing a clear sense of self. And then from there, you'll have a greater sense of agency and clarity on your motivations, and that informs your calling.
Those are great starting points, but I wonder if it may be overwhelming to know exactly where to start or what stories to go to. Are there any practical guidelines for young adults like me navigating that sense of meaningless emptiness and loneliness?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't recommend enough. I might be messing up her name a little bit, but Satya Doyle-Bjork is a Jungian analyst, and she wrote Quarter Life, The Search for Self in Early Adulthood. And she basically comes up with the idea of the quarter life crisis, where your sense of meaning and drive and hopefulness about the future dries up. It tends to happen in your mid-20s. And she says that at that point, you need to kind of intentionally counterbalance the way you've been to renew your sense of motivation and passion and clarity. So she gives like two types of folks at that quarter life crisis point. One is someone who has followed external expectations a lot and maybe needs to connect more with their inner sense of personal meaning. And the other type of person is someone who's really followed their personal values, like social justice, or they're an artist, and they need to root down into reality and create like tangible relationships and concrete goals. So that would be an excellent starting point.
Okay, now can you tell us some more about the Young Center programs that provide connections with like-minded people to explore creativity, self-discovery, and to create and uncover your path in life?
Yeah. So what's really great about the Young Center is that they have like different lines of service, which are like departments in servicing the spirit. And so our Mind, Body, Spirit Institute focuses on embodied spiritual practice, and they have free weekly meditations. Some are offered in Spanish. And they have an upcoming program in November about anchoring into a sense of hope. And then we have all of our different departments are listed on our website, younghouston.org, and you can explore like artistic practice or collaborating with people and gaining from their wisdom and insight. And all of our programs have scholarships. So if finances are an issue, you can apply for the scholarship and still have access to those insights.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much for being on the show. Again, she's a manager of the Community for Conscious Aging of the Young Center of Houston and our Mental Health Monday guest. We want to remind our students and viewers that HCC has an outstanding counseling program. Check out our post after the show for info on it and the Young Center. Thank you so much, Sarah.
¿Por qué esperar para el trabajo de tus sueños? En Houston Community College, la colegiatura es de solo $33 por hora de crédito. Con horarios flexibles y campus en todo Houston, inscribirse en HCC es fácil y accesible. Houston Community College.
When a child is sick, there's one thing they need: a really big cookie.
Welcome to RMHC.
We're not big on poking sticks and beeping machines, but we're the best at playing dress up. We think the Tooth Fairy should travel everywhere, and while hospitals have doctors and nurses, we have mom and dad. Because at Ronald McDonald House Charities, we help families feel at home, even when they can't be.
Our individual voices are powerful, but not everything has a voice. Let us be a voice to the voiceless. It's time to speak up for nature.
Welcome back. We are on to news and announcements. Hispanic Leaders in Action are at Northwest campuses. Faculty, staff, and students are invited to attend this special event at the Katy campus to learn about Hispanic leaders. And that's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tuesday, September 30th, which is tomorrow. It's at the HCC campus, Katy campus. So check out our post after the show for more information. And we've got some Southeast art.
Yes. So the Prisoner Experience Southeast Art Exhibit, it's still on. So HCC students have received a grant from the Library of Congress to explore connections between the historic Sugarland 95 convict labor gravesite and contemporary mass incarceration. Their work includes digital collections, photographs, audio recordings, and documents. The artist reception is on Thursday, October 2nd, which is this Thursday, actually, at 5 p.m. And the exhibition is going to be running all the way through October 24th. That is on the East Side Wedge Space. You can check our post after the show for more info.
And this food scholarship program will be back at Alief Bissonnette. HCC and the Houston Food Bank are continuing their food scholarship program, offering free groceries such as fresh produce, protein, canned goods, and more. And that is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday, October 2nd. That's this Thursday coming up at the Alief Bissonnette campus. No registration is needed, but come early, bring your ID and grocery bags. So check out our post after the show for more information. And we want to give you some information about covering costs for fall registration.
Yes, cover costs for fall. Explore options today. There's still time to find financial help for fall 2025. Students can set themselves up for success by exploring financial aid options, from grants and scholarships to loans and work-study programs. You can check our post after the show for more registration info.
And we want you to be well wherever you are. Connect with EAP. Being proactive in asking for help is essential to manage stress and anxiety, to balance work and life, to get support in our relationships, and for financial and legal wellness. Challenges in one of those areas can ripple into others, so HCC offers support through its partnership with UT EAP. Check out our post after the show for registration information, and fall registration continues, Issa.
Yes, there's still time to register for fall classes, including Second Start. HCC classes are offered in a variety of programs, semester lengths, and modalities, including online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, which is a mix of both face-to-face and it's virtual too, in-person, and hybrid lab. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover cost, you can go to hccs.edu/apply.
And coming up for Tasty Tuesday, we'll spotlight a pop-up of Brazilian and Cuban sandwiches. I love a Cuban sandwich.
Yes.
From a husband and wife team with a super chef pedigree. And later we'll spotlight HCC Central President Dr. Butch Harrod, one of my favorite people, and his wife, Senior Network Analyst Kathy Harrod, who will be here to discuss their HCC Foundation donation of $25,000 for student scholarships. That is awesome. So stay with us on your Facebook feed on weekday mornings and make sure you like this episode and follow us on social media. Thank you, Isa, for hosting with me this
Thank
morning.
you, Anna. It was
And
a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.